Someone is controlling you right now. Not a government, not a corporation, not a stranger on the internet. Someone you trust. Someone you talk to every day. Someone who might be sitting next to you. And the terrifying part? You have no idea it's happening. Because the most dangerous manipulation never feels like manipulation. It feels like love, like reason, like your own thoughts. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 7 manipulation tactics that intelligent people use. Tactics backed by psychology research, weaponized in relationships, workplaces, and politics, and happening to you right now, whether you recognize them or not. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never be the same. In 1971, a psychologist named Robert Cialdini began studying something that most scientists ignored. Not how people think, but how people are made to think differently by others. What he found shook the field of social psychology to its core. Human beings, no matter how intelligent, no matter how educated, are hardwired with predictable psychological vulnerabilities. And the people who know about these vulnerabilities, they use them every single day. These aren't evil people necessarily. Some of them are your friends, your partners, your managers, your parents. And the tactics they use aren't loud or obvious. They're quiet, surgical, invisible. Here are the 7 that you need to know. Tactic 1. They make you question your own memory. It starts small. That's not what I said. You're overreacting. You're too sensitive. This is called gaslighting, named after a 1944 film where a husband slowly manipulates his wife into believing she's losing her mind. Psychologists at the University of Michigan found that repeated reality denial causes victims to develop something called epistemic anxiety, a deep, chronic uncertainty about their own perceptions. Once you can't trust your own memory, you become entirely dependent on the manipulator to tell you what's real. That's not a relationship. That's a cage. Tactic 2. They make you feel responsible for their emotions. If you really cared about me, you wouldn't do that. Look what you made me do. This is called guilt transference, and it's one of the most elegant psychological weapons ever designed, because it uses your empathy against you. The more compassionate you are, the more effective it is. You end up apologizing for being hurt. You end up comforting the person who wounded you. Think about that for a moment. We're only at tactic 2, and I need you to stay with me, because tactics 3, 4, and 5 are the ones most people never even recognize as manipulation. They feel completely normal. That's exactly why they work.
Tactic 3. Love bombing. Before control comes overwhelming affection, excessive compliments, constant attention, gifts, messages every hour. It feels incredible, like you've finally found someone who truly sees you. But what's actually happening is called intermittent reinforcement, a concept first identified by behavioral psychologist B.F. Skinner. By flooding you with reward early, they make your brain chemically addicted to their approval. The same neurological pathway as gambling, the same pathway as cocaine. So when they eventually pull that affection away, and they will, your brain goes into withdrawal, and you'll do almost anything to get that feeling back. Tactic 4. The silent treatment as punishment. Silence, when used deliberately, is one of the most powerful psychological weapons available to a human being because it activates the same region of the brain as physical pain. A 2011 study published in Psychological Science found that social exclusion triggers the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the same area that fires when you break a bone. They don't need to hit you. They just stop responding. And your nervous system screams. Tactic 5. Moving the goalposts. You do everything they asked. And somehow it's still not enough. The standard shifts. The bar moves. The rules change, retroactively. This is a control mechanism designed to keep you in a permanent state of inadequacy. If you can never succeed, you can never feel confident enough to leave. Tactic 6. Triangulation. They introduce a third party, an ex, a colleague, a friend, not because they're interested in that person, but because jealousy is one of the most effective tools for destabilizing someone's sense of security. The moment you start competing for someone's attention, you have handed them total power over your emotional state. You are no longer thinking clearly. You are reacting. And a person in reaction mode is extraordinarily easy to control. Tactic 7, and this is the most insidious of all, intellectual superiority as dismissal. You're too emotional to understand. You're not smart enough to see the big picture. I'm just being logical. You're being irrational. This tactic doesn't just win an argument. It disqualifies you from having one. It makes your feelings inadmissible as evidence. It tells you that the very thing making you human, your emotions, is a defect. And once you believe that, you stop trusting yourself entirely. Here's what none of this is about. It's not about being weak. It's not about being naive. It's not about being the kind of person who gets manipulated. Researchers at UCLA found that the human brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for rational decision-making, is systematically overridden when we are in close emotional relationships. The closer someone is to you, the less clearly you see them. This isn't a flaw, it's a feature. It's how human bonding works. We are wired to trust the people we love. Manipulators don't exploit weakness. They exploit the very thing that makes you capable of love. So what do you do with this? You don't become paranoid. You don't start seeing manipulation everywhere. That would make you as destructive as the people we've described today. What you do is this. You learn to notice the feeling, not the logic, the feeling. Because manipulation always leaves a residue, a quiet confusion, a sense that somehow, in every conflict, you are always the one who ends up apologizing, always the one who ends up smaller. If that sounds familiar, this video was made for you. The blind spot isn't a weakness. Seeing it, clearly, honestly, without flinching, that's where your power begins. If this opens something in you, subscribe. Because every week we go deeper. We don't do motivation. We don't do feel good. We do the truth about the human mind, the parts nobody wants to talk about. I'll see you in the next one.